In the 1960s, Cleve Baxter, a trained member of the CIA interrogation team, made a revelation that marked its era. Plants, he affirmed, are capable of communicating between each other. Using a lie detector, he claimed to have succeeded in capturing their thoughts, emotions, and even their telepathic powers.
Attached to delicate electronic instruments, a cabbage plant registers annoyance to the exhaling of tobacco smoke on its leaf surfaces. A scene familiar in any kitchen takes on special importance in this experiment. In some mysterious way, the plant which is attached to the instrument is able to feel the mutilation of its comrade.
Baxter was not a scientist, and he did a lot of experiments, but claiming that he was able to detect telepathy and a big amount of strange phenomena in plants. But in the last 40 years, many scientists tried to repeat the experiment without success. So essentially in science, if you cannot repeat an experiment, this means that this experiment is wrong.
The authors rarely did experiments in the way a scientist would do them, so most scientists dismissed it as not very scientific.
The Secret Life of Plants was looking at plant social life in a very New Agey kind of way.
Stefano Mancuso is not a survivor from the New Age. A pioneer in neurobiological research on plants, he is convinced that plants are great communicators. At the University of Florence in Italy, he is trying to reveal what plants are hiding from us. Stefano Mancuso's first trial is with a bean plant. He has grown them under various conditions. In the dark, at different lighting or humidity levels, at varied temperatures, even by modifying the magnetic field that surrounds it. He wants to find out how the bean plants always find the support stick.
We did some 100 different experiments, and all the times the plants were able to find the supports. And so now that we are, the idea is that there is some kind of unknown way that the plants use to sense the environment.
Skeptical scientists have objected, declaring that the plant is performing a simple mechanical movement and that the plant haphazardly found the nearby support stick. In reply to the critics, Stefano Mancuso placed two plants, one on each side of the stick. As he expected, both plants grew towards the support stick.
Our science is it's a science made by animals, for animals. Because we are animals, we are unable normally to feel that plants are intelligent and sensitive organisms.
Dare we evoke a form of plant brain?
Intelligence and sensitivity is not something that it's linked to a brain. The brain in itself, it's a stupid organ. It's just an amount of cells that we have here and every animals have. But if you look at the single cells, they are cells. There is nothing mysterious or supernatural about the cells of our brains. They are just a specific kind of cells called neurons. But you don't need neurons to make this stuff. You can have all other kind of cells having the same function. So it means transmitting signals from one cell to the other.
The tremendous root network that plants possess makes a striking parallel with our highly complex brain circuits. Charles Darwin was one of the first to probe the underground life of plants. He was convinced that plants have command centers at the tip of their roots, known as the apex. Researcher at the University of Bonn in Germany, Dr. František Belusko works on apex neurobiology.
All the root apices, they are coordinated in their activities and growth, and they resemble some swarms, for example, insect swarms or birds. Somehow there is some communication. We still don't understand how it is going on, but they are coordinated and behave as a one swarm.
František Beluska's research has revealed that within the apex, plants have cells that are very similar to those found in animal muscle cells. The roots are capable of exploring the soil with extraordinary precision, and plants seem to know when to form their flowers or drop their leaves. Could there really be, as Charles Darwin once thought, a single and unique command post?
So there is no central organizer, and that's why these networks are not vulnerable to some stress situations. These networks can self-organize very effectively, and they can survive any bad stress situation. The network resembles very closely the internet network, so one could call it root wide web.
A root wide web, root cells that function independently but in coordination with others.
This is the same kind of signal we can record in the animal brain.
Really, these networks are also used to exchange information, not just to provide water or nutrition. We have still no idea how complex the communication there is.
Today, we are aware that plants have much to talk about, but we know little or nothing of it. The secret life of plants is slowly unveiled through the research of a few tenacious scientists. Canadian biologist Susan Dudley and her team have found that when the root of the Impatiens pallida touches the root of a plant from another family, the impatiens increases its water and light consumption and creates larger leaves.
Okay, 20.1 square centimeters. It's a good-sized leaf. These plants are big. These plants actively know that they have neighbors and actively respond to the presence of neighbors. And each and every leaf, in fact, positions itself to avoid getting shaded by neighboring leaves, even within the same plant.
But the impatiens' reaction is totally different when its roots come across a family member.
We can say that plants know who members of the same family are. And that's important information for them to know. Because members of the same family share genes. And so if you're nice to a member of the same family, if you compete less with it, or even actively share with it, then your genes are being passed on through that family member.
Using such tactile root recognition, the plant can advantage its family members. This reveals that plants, in their own way, are capable of altruism. Just as amazing, plants are able to communicate between themselves other than by touch, as Dr. Stefano Mancuso demonstrates. Our Italian scientist has isolated 3 groups of corn plants. There is no root contact between them. He will then deprive oxygen to one of the groups.
After 5 minutes from the start of the lack of oxygen, we had this group of plants emitting an SOS signal to warn the surrounding plant that there is something that is going wrong with oxygen. In this case, we have a group of plants that are emitting a message that it's, in few words, pay attention, there is no more oxygen around. And the other group of plants are receiving this message and according they are able to prepare themselves to a future lack of oxygen. Here we have the plants that are without any change in the oxygen and that are not receiving any message. Here we have the plants in red that are producing a gene because they are stressed by the lack of oxygen, and they are producing also a message, and the message is taken by the blue plants. They have no problem with the oxygen, but they are all the same producing the gene because they are receiving the message. So definitively there is a communication between these two groups of plants.
Plants can send and receive messages, but how do they do it?
They are really speaking each other. It's not a kind of language like our language. It's not based on words, but it's based on chemical molecules. Plants are able to produce many thousands of chemical molecules. Each single molecule means something. So when this group of plants are producing specific molecules and this other group of plants are detecting this molecule, this means that there is something wrong.